Well, I know y'all saw the shooting that happened this week with the trans person that went into the Christian school and gunned down 3 9-year-old children and 3 adults. And so I wanted to put this together real quick. I'm going to get through it as quickly as I can just to kind of explain how all this is connected to our religious liberty. Here's a little video.
According to the media, female Audrey Hale, who identified as a male, murdered 6 at a Christian school in Nashville, Tennessee, including 3 children. The anti-gun lobbyist who witnessed the Highland Park parade shooting was at the crime scene with her friend, who lost a daughter at the Waffle House shooting. They spent the day telling all the cameras how they were coincidentally there on vacation and that America needs more gun laws.
I was actually in town just on vacation, but I'm a mass shooting survivor. My son and I survived a mass shooting in Highland Park.
I am in Tennessee on a family vacation with my son, visiting my sister-in-law. I have been lobbying in D.C. since we survived a mass shooting in July. I have met with over 130 lawmakers. We have to do something. We all have to call our lawmakers, and we all have to make our lawmakers make change now, or this is going to keep happening, and it's going to be your kid, and your kid, and your kid, and your kid next.
We now have people in America, and this is not the first time we've heard this, who have experienced more than one mass shooting. That woman was at Highland Park. She's now a witness to the shooting in Nashville.
The U.S. military routinely orchestrates simulated crises all over the country and hires civilians to be crisis actors. And we've seen the use of crisis actors in several major events, such as 9/11 and the Boston Marathon bombing. The anti-gun lobby has been accused of using crisis actors for years, but this is a whole new level. And when we look at the details of the Nashville shooting, the presence of the gun lobbyist does not appear to be a coincidence. The Nashville shooting has signs of a typical false flag. The woman being touted by the media as the shooter's good friend who received the Instagram confession is actually just a childhood acquaintance who says she was contacted because she's a local media personality. The alleged shooter was under doctor's care for an emotional disorder, and the shooter is seen wearing 2 different pairs of shoes within the hour, Pumas going in and Vans going out. But there is more to this false flag than the typical gun grab. This Saturday, a group called Trans Radical Activist Network is organizing a protest in Washington, D.C. called Day of Vengeance. This is reportedly a new movement called Militant Trans, an armed branch of the LGBTQ cult that is threatening to kill those who oppose sex change ops for children. Just hours after the Nashville shooting, the governor of Arizona's press secretary tweeted a picture of a woman wielding 2 handguns with the caption, "Us when we see transphobes." This is followed by what appears to be online support. Madonna raises money in Nashville, not for the 3 murdered children, but for the trans community. A trans named Adam Denker, who now goes by Kayla, recently made headlines for posting a short video with a rifle, threatening to fight back against transphobes. Journalist Andy Ngo is reporting that Denker is a member of Antifa and is former military, which shouldn't be a surprise. The military has changed their code to allow for transsexuals. Military psychologists have been pushing confused personnel into getting radical sexual reassignment surgeries that the military is now paying for. So far, in 2023 alone, the U.S. government has spent $10 million to research LGBTQ Americans, and that's nothing. In the year 2017, well over 100 organizations gave $185 million to support the LGBTQ community, and the top spender has been Big Pharma. The mentally ill are being weaponized by the New World Order. And we, the people, are being goaded into seeing them as the enemy. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
All right, so from the video there, we can see how, I'm not saying that this thing was fake or anything, but it's interesting that there were people trying to take our guns right there, and different people that talk to lawmakers and stuff were just right there at the time that all this happened. So, in the verse Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, and male and female created he them. So he created two genders, male and female.
Amen.
And that's biology. You can't change that.
That's right.
So these people are pumped with drugs, and they are mentally unstable. Up until just a few years ago, being transgender was considered a mental illness. And I'm not saying as a Christian we should love transgender people, we should love gay people, we should love everyone, right? But they're being weaponized against Christians at this point. This is from the Washington Free Beacon. It says, days after the Nashville shooting, Biden condemns violence against transgender women. California kindergartners will read about transgender kids for a transgender day of visibility. So the White House issued a proclamation on Transgender Day of Visibility. So they're not having a vigil for the children or the adults that were killed. They're more interested in this. So this just is politicians encouraging violence on Christians at this point. Isaiah 10:1 tells us, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that with grievousness which they are prescribed. So that with the president, the decree that he decreed was pretty unrighteous. I think he should have been talking more about the children. And I don't know if you saw after he came out, he talked about ice cream and how good looking the kids were in the audience for about 5 minutes before he discussed the children that were killed in the shooting. So CBS executives bar the word transgender from the reports of the Nashville shooter. And one of the journalists that were upset about it, so they spoke out and said this is not journalism. And the media is upset with the Nashville police for misgendering the school shooter, because they called her a her, which is what biology states. In Deuteronomy 22:5, a woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
That's right.
An abomination is a thing hated by God.
That's right.
The Nashville mass shooting shooter Aubrey Hale was rejected by her Christian parents, who couldn't accept she was gay and trans. As cops reveal, she also planned to shoot relatives. So you can see where the media is spinning this. And then from Forbes, testosterone therapy increases anger expression and control in transgender men, especially if their period persists. So you see that if they're on these hormones, they can get angry. Here's from NBC News that says, some on the right blame gender identity and not guns for the Nashville shooting. So we can see this is all an attack on our rights. They're trying to grab guns. There's laws against murder, but people commit murder every day, right? So you can make as many laws against guns as you want, but really that hinders the people who are the good guys from having guns. Amen. Unfortunately. So this is in Indiana today, right now, rally to protect the trans youth at the Indiana State House going on right now. So it's going on in Indiana just like it's going on in all these other places. Leviticus 20:13 tells us, if a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So this, if a transgender woman sleeps with a man, that's two men sleeping together. The Christian Institute here puts out the trans propaganda helped destroy the life of this detransitioning U.S. Navy SEAL. Doctors failed me, detransitioned woman who had her breast and uterus removed when she thought she was a man during mental health crisis, sues 8 healthcare workers who helped her change. And then in the map here, you see there's blue and red and green. The blue are states where conversion therapy is banned. So you can't pray over these people. You can't try to help them to find the Lord. You know, if anybody knows that God can overcome anything, it's me. You know, I was ordained in the Satanic Church. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. And now I'm here doing what I'm doing today only by God's grace. Amen. Here's Advent Messenger, which I recommend everybody to check out, and should have it like saved as a bookmark in their phone to check. There's a lot of good things here, but the mass shootings and the collapse of our culture, the rise of sin, and the need to spread the gospel. So this is from Testimonies for the Church. The conditions of things in the world shows us that troublous times are right upon us. The daily papers are full of indications of terrible conflict in the near future. Bold robberies are frequent occurrence. Strikes are common. Thefts and murders are committed on every hand. Men possessed of demons are taking the lives of men and women and little children. Men have become infatuated with vice, and every species of evil prevails. So it was hard to find anything about transgender women in the Ellen White's writings, but this tells you right here the transgender thing is it's of the devil. It's demon. You know, when you look at the people who are protesting these things, when you go look at Tennessee, they had a Baphomet up there that was protesting. This thing is of the devil. And Matthew 5:11 says, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake." So persecution is coming. We see the way the media has turned this against the Christians. They're murdered, and it's their fault. And they want to talk about the misgendering. So we are targets. So we need to get out there and spread the gospel message, because that's what Jesus is waiting on to come back, right? Amen. So that concludes the segment.